Hi there, welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham. Very odd one in about a month or so. It's one where I can celebrate a win and we can talk about a win without having to be all doom and gloom. Three guests here. Two of them you may recognise if you have been following this channel since the start, Mac and Mark. When Let's Talk Tottenham used to be just a podcast, it was us three. How you doing, boys?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for having us back. It's always good to
no
know.
problem. Yeah. And you've got, you may see from Mark's square, I guess, or whatever there, you've got a podcast of your own, Emotion Podcast, Raw Emotion. Tell us about that. Where can you find it? It is in the description anyway, but for people who don't know.
Mac, I always do this, mate, so you can plug it if you want.
Well, no, it's Emotion Pod, Raw Emotion, the Tottenham podcast. We're currently posting our podcasts out via. You best say where we put them, Mark.
Well, Twitter. You can get us on Twitter. You can get us on all podcast streams.
So we do a pre-match, half-time, post-match analysis. We call it Raw Emotion because we
swear a lot.
See it, and it's the first 10 minutes. I've been told I can't swear, so I'm going to try and keep it short, and Mark can take over. But we just give a gut reaction. None of this pre-planned, sort of lights, camera, action type of thing. Not that I'm implying that lights, camera, action. You can see he's done his makeup. But no, we just do it as we see it. We call it by the gut. There's no room for manoeuvre. We just give it raw, and that's how we like to do what we do.
Excellent. The Twitter handles for both Mac and Mark are in the description, along with the podcast. Vicky, I keep calling you Vicky. You've got to change your name on your handle thing. Jens. Been wanting you on the show for a little while. I chat to you all the time on Eugene's podcast. We've got Brian Daigle coming on as well. He said he's available. So just give me a sec, Brian. I'll send that over to you. But yeah, Jens, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Absolutely well chuffed about yesterday. It's been a while. It's been a while since I felt like that. On Thursday, we scored 5, but still the performance was shocking, I thought. But yesterday,
that against Mura.
Yes, yeah. But yesterday, I was very happy, and I think on another day we could have had 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think so as well. So I'm just trying to get the stream for Brian here, and it's not working on my phone.
Do you want me to send
amateur.
It? Oh.
Yeah, if you could. Yeah, I mean amateur hour in it on the top left.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, Wayne on the chat as well. How you doing, Wayne? Always comments on the chats, not just mine, but all Tottenham podcasts. 3 points to the Tottenham, 3 points to the Tottenham. Win and a performance both long overdue. And that performance, Mac, was the whole team was fairly good, I thought, but one person stood out absolutely. This guy, Sonny, he's back. Had a fairly poor month, but then so has the team. Absolutely superb. When he's playing like that, making runs, and people are there looking for him and those runs, and you're able to get him one-on-one with whichever defender it is, unplayable, isn't he?
For me, he's our most important player. Everyone goes on about, keeping Kane for another season. No, tying Sonny down to a new contract, I think, was the best bit of business we did all summer. The guy is phenomenal for us, and you just he shows such love, such passion for the team, for the shirt, for the fans. You don't want more, and you couldn't ask for any more from somebody playing for your club. And yeah, for me, he's by a country mile. The guy is by far everything that embodies, in my opinion, Tottenham now.
Yeah, Mark, what do you make of him? Just superstar. Is he taking a Kane's role? Obviously, Kane now as the face of Tottenham, one of our own, but obviously the summer transfer issues. Has he now become the face of Tottenham? Or is it still Kane? And
It's really difficult, Chris, to be honest, because I think a lot of the fans are still hurting by what Kane did. But if he would have scored 10 goals by now, I think it would have been forgiven a little bit. But because he hasn't scored and Son has been playing really well, it has shone a lot of more light onto Son. But I do think if Kane starts scoring again, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I find it very difficult when I've been, as I was saying to you off air, that I've only been in the ground twice this season. I personally wouldn't sing he's one of our own at the minute because I'm still hurting from the way he handled the situation in the summer. Not that he wanted to leave, because I think we'd all probably pretty much accept that you can accept why he wanted to leave, the direction the club's going in. I can sort of forgive him for that, but the way that it was handled, I found it pretty hard to swallow, to be honest with you. So, but Son signed a new contract, so he's got that on side as well. He showed his loyalty to the club. You can definitely feel the love he has for the club every time he steps foot onto the pitch. You know, he was crying at the end of the League Cup final. Well, he is, you know, Tottenham through and through. But I suppose because he's not English, he didn't come through our academy. Mr. Tottenham will always probably be Kane because of that, you know, I think. But he's certainly a major player for us. Major player, you know, one of the best I've seen anyway in my time supporting Tottenham. He'll definitely be fighting for a spot in my all-time 11 of players that I've seen for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Jens, you were saying on Eugene's channel yesterday, you thought Dyer was man of the match. You then went down on your morals and backed down and said Son. You still on the Son side of the fence, or
yes,
do you think? Yeah. I mean, Dyer did do well. I have no qualms about that, but I think Son just turned it on, didn't he?
Also thinking about it again, I think that Højbjerg was somewhere up there as well. I mean, I was very impressed with that goal, and yeah, as usual, he was busy up and down everywhere. But I think I'll still go with Sonny. He's just, you know, when he's running the defences like that, it's an absolute pleasure to watch. And yeah, if he'd had his shooting boots on, as I said, we might have had 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nice to have an actual win and an attacking play as well. It was far more attacking. Brian, just I managed to send it out. Brian's here now.
Okay.
Just going to say I'll send the stuff to him. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, people. How is everyone?
Not too bad. Have you met everybody on here?
I haven't got my glasses on. Apart from Gareth, I've met everyone. So Gareth, nice to meet you, buddy.
Yeah, nice to meet you, mate.
And Mac, I didn't get to donate before for the London Marathon because I've had issues with sending money, but I am going to donate.
No problem. No worries, man.
Mate, I just want to let you know, mate. Well, how was the marathon yesterday?
How was the marathon? It was all right, mate. I'm feeling it today. Put it that way. I'm in bits today, but yeah, it was good. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it.
And obviously, I've got my. I'm so lucky to be on the bottom row. I'm with my boy Jens. It's always a pleasure to be with him, and obviously yourself, Chris, and obviously you.
Yeah.
And I'm on the top row, a rose between two thorns.
You know what? Whenever there's multiple people, I think I'm playing Celebrity Squares.
Universal challenge.
Speaking of the marathon, Mark, if you send me the link for your Just Giving or whatever it was, I'll stick it on the description.
Okay, mate. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Brian, you were at the game yesterday. How did you find the game? And I did have to laugh. I do apologise that you were saying on Friday all you wanted to see was a goal. Højbjerg scored and you missed it. But please tell me, for the love of God, you saw the second goal.
I did, but you know what's so annoying is. Like I said, I wouldn't predict the score on yours. I started it on your show, so listen, I don't want to predict the score. All I hope to see is a goal. And through my, I don't mind admitting this, everyone knows I used to be an alcoholic. I'm 13 years clean. But the one issue I have is there's sometimes where it could be fine, and then all of a sudden I need to go to the toilet like a 10-month-old kid, and if I don't get to the toilet quick, I'll wet myself. And I was sitting next to Danny Kiriakou, and I just literally said, do you know what? I think I need to go to the toilet. And he goes, but I bet if I go, they're going to score. He goes, yeah, Brian, don't risk it. And then all of a sudden, it became one of those moments. So I pelted down the stairs, got into the concourse, and as I'm walking that way to the toilet, a really good friend of mine, a girl I used to work with at Selfridges, just happens now to be a steward. She's there. She's like, Brian! And I was like, I need to go to the toilet. But I was like, hug and just hope the worst don't happen. So I hugged, and all of a sudden I had a roar, and I was like, you know what? You absolute arseholes. I was like, don't believe he's done it again. He's doing things to me. So I ran up the stairs just quickly to see who scores. And of course, it's my favourite goddamn player, Højbjerg. I mean, the odds of me missing a goal is quite obvious. People do it all the time. But when you don't get to go to the games, you live in Canada, and then you see it's your favourite player. And I was like, oh, don't do this to me. Don't do this. I was like, and then thankfully, obviously I saw a Villa goal. I've got a 100% record of the opposition scoring against us. And then thankfully we scored a goal. Thankfully, because I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Mate, get a 5-litre bag next time you go. You'll be all right.
Mate, do you know what? I think I might buy one of those man diapers just to make sure. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. But do you know what? The game was okay. The game. I mean, the biggest thing I took, apart from a few performances, which I'm sure we'll talk about, what I did like is after we equalised, we did go back on the attack. We were offensive. We did go for it, but there's a few players that really stood out, and there's a couple that really, really did not. But I saw a win at Tottenham, and we all got to see a win, which is fantastic.
And a much needed one for Nuno as well. I mean, everyone's in a good mood today, and you know, anyone watching this, you know, you're in a good mood. You're a Spurs fan, so just hit a like. You know, it's not that hard. You're in a good mood. Just hit a like. While you're there, subscribe as well. All helps the channel. I do appreciate it.
Chris, I'm in a good mood now. We've passed the 10-minute mark. Fuck, shit, bugger.
Oh my God, I spoke all that time and I didn't swear. Thank God. That's got to be a new record.
You were 29 seconds over 10 minutes, bro.
What, when I first started talking?
No, when you said the word arseholes.
Oh, I did swear. Okay, thank God. Yeah, I don't even realise.
That's not really swearing though. That never gets cut out on TV now, does it?
Yeah.
So all I'm all saying, I think we all suffer with it. I've definitely been diagnosed with Tottenham Tourette's. So you can't you can't help it. So this 10-minute mark thing is not the best. But you know what it is as well? I actually think, from when I was talking to you, I actually think it's 5 minutes, but people obviously give a 5-minute buffer just to be on the safe side. So yeah, but there's a little information for you.
Yeah, Matt, Brian's mentioned a few players who stood out. I'm sure we can all guess. But one who I'm not sure if it was his debut or not, Romero. What do you make of his performance? I thought he played pretty well, but the goal we conceded was his fault for diving in and leaving Dyer out of position with two people to mark, and then obviously Dyer's not picked up the run or he's got the run on him. But overall, for Romero, thought he played quite well. What did you make of him?
I'll be honest, mate. For me, the best performance of a player is the one that you hardly hear about. You know, it's a bit like what they say about a referee. You know, you hardly hear the name. They must have had a good game. Romero, he was solid. He looked really good. He had that one rush of blood to the head where he thought he was going to make it, and he didn't. Do you know what I mean? And let's be honest, he's next to Dyer, and how many times has Dyer done it? So if we hang Romero out to dry, then we're a bunch of hypocrites. You know, it was one mistake. He had a solid game. He looked good. You know, he looked a bargain as well at what we paid for him. I'm hoping that's him starting to settle, you know, and him alongside Emerson Royal as well. I think they both worked quite well together. I liked how they seemed to have each other's backs a little bit during that game. And it was great to watch. You know, it was great to see us using our new players as well, rather than, you know, typical Tottenham. Oh, yeah, we bought this really good player. Oh, he's amazing. He's fucking mint. Right? And you know, and then we don't use them. They sit on the bench for God knows how long. And it's like, well, you know, every other team can do it. Why can't we? And I think that the Villa game was a great example for both of those players of, you know, of what potential they have and what they can bring to this Tottenham squad.
Yeah. You mentioned Emerson there. I mean, Mark, he was superb, I thought. I feel a bit sorry for Tanganga because he's played quite well this season, but I think Emerson, with that performance, showed he can defend, showed he can go forward. Romero obviously impressed, along with Dyer, who Jens thought was man of the match, and obviously a good performance. But, I mean, two questions, really. Do you think that's our back four going forward? And do you feel a little bit sorry for Sanchez? He's obviously had a bad month, like pretty much everybody at the club. But he was pretty superb for large part of the early season, and now he seems to have been dropped. But certainly, if Romero is going to be the defender going forward?
Do I feel sorry for Sanchez? No, not really. I've always said it's pretty much of a toss of a coin between. He don't get me wrong, he has been playing. He played well the first 3 games, and it was a toss up between who you pick between them, Dyer or Sanchez for me. I don't really care. I don't feel sorry for anyone really, mate. I don't care who goes in. With Emerson, we're bipolar, mate, as Tottenham fans, because after the Arsenal game, there was people saying, Tomiyasu and the best player on the pitch, and we should have got him. This is what we do. I'm not going to get too carried away after one good performance from Emerson. It was a good game. He played very well. I don't know much about him. I don't know much about Tomiyasu. We need to just give them time to settle in, and that's the key to it. I'm not going to jump on anyone's. I'm not going to jump on Romero's back. I'm not going to jump on Emerson's back, because you've got to see them over a period of time. Will I jump on yours? To answer your question, Chris, I think for now, that's got to be our back four. Until Dyer makes a mistake, and then Sanchez will come in, and then Sanchez will make a mistake, and then I'm jumping on their back because they've been doing it well now. I'm going to jump on the new players' backs.
Yeah, you're not going to get carried away. I've been waiting 4 weeks for a win, so I'm on the verge of getting carried away. So just to warn everybody.
I can understand that.
But Wayne has pretty much agreed with you. I'll start Romero every game. So I think by that he means that's the back four going forward. Tanganga will get Conference League, Cup games, hopefully a few league games as well. I'd like to see Romero and Vodon partner up at some point. Jens, do you think that is the back four? I'm talking about the back two mainly. Do you think that's up? Because Nuno seems to be very reluctant to go back to his roots and back three. So do you think Vodon gets a look in, or do you think he's, like Wayne says, in Tanganga's boat and gets Conference League and Cup games, and it's Romero and Dyer going forward?
Yeah, I reckon it'll be Romero and Dyer. I don't really understand why Rodon was frozen out at the end of last season. I didn't understand, and then someone told me that apparently he'd had a Barney with the coaches saying, why are you picking Dyer and Sanchez every game and they're making a mistake every game? And, I'm here, and why don't you give me a chance?
You mean he did a Danny Rose?
Yeah, it sounds very similar.
Yeah.
Well, he was honest and open about something that was right.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
If that's the truth, delighted, because someone's actually willing to shout and display their displeasure.
Yeah. But I would have assumed that there would be a clean slate when Nuno came in. So maybe he just doesn't fancy him. I don't know. I think there's definitely a player in there. But
maybe this goes back to a point that we made that I made at the weekend, that maybe there's still a bit too much interference from behind the scenes as regards what team goes out.
Yeah.
I like this dude. He's thinking from my. He's saying the stuff that I don't need to say. I like this.
Yeah, mate, I said, me and Mark said it when we did our bit after the game. Bottom line is, I do. You look at how certain people, even being as crap as they are, Dele Alli, first 6 games, why was he playing?
Yep. I really like him. I really like him.
Right, when Dele Alli, and somebody put a tweet up, said I can pinpoint the minute when Dele Alli went shit, and that was when Fortnite came out. And to be fair, it was about the same time. But Dele Alli's had 6 games. You know what? He scored a couple of goals.
Both penalties.
Yeah, and he hasn't shown anything like what he was. He's not. He's losing the ball too easily. He's not creating anything near like he used to be. And we've got this young Brian Gill who's a flying McCartney with that haircut. Down the left side. Absolutely. And there's a lot of potential there that I've really liked in him. And I'm thinking, if we're missing so much creativity and Dele Alli is being shit as per, associate with him now, then why aren't we playing Gill? Højbjerg and Skip for me, I think, are an integral part of the centre. Okay.
Yeah.
They've both got to play together. All right. For Spurs to have that bite that we need in the midfield. All right, you've got Gill who can run it down the left. You've got Sonny who can play either flank. Harry Kane, when he decides to turn up.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later.
We'll talk about him.
Well, yeah, but drop Kane, bring in Lucas, put Son in the middle. Do you know what I mean? But either way, I just think there's got to be something that we're not aware of, something happening behind the scenes where they're saying, well, we need to play him, we need to at least get him some form. Whether that's because they want him to regain some form so they can add 10 million onto his price tag in January, I don't know. But just something isn't right when you look at some of the team selections.
Well, the thing is as well, Gareth, I'll just say this about Dele Alli, then I'll talk about the defence, Chris, if that's okay, because quite a bit to talk about with the defence. The thing that, I've been Dele Alli out for a while, and I say it on multiple streams, I'd love to grab him by one of his blue dreadlocks, swing him around, and wherever he lands, they keep him. But then you look, what really annoyed me as well was on Thursday, he was captain, because it was his 50th game in Europe, and against Mura, you'd be like, right, Dele Alli, this is you to control this game. You've got a chance now to really show it, and he was terrible. Apart from his penalty, and even for the penalty, he tries to do a fancy flick over the keeper rather than just... So all he does is he runs around and claims, well, it must be the six-pack, and then he does... I can run around. Christian Eriksen was getting the most mileage or distance done, but he was doing nothing in the last few months. But with the defence... Romero was outstanding. People were talking about that slip, and he may have been at fault for the goal. But what you got to remember, it's the first time that, and I was trying to talk about this with Danny Kiriakou as well. I think it's the first time since probably Walker and Rose that both fullbacks have had a good game.
Yeah.
And Dyer also looked very composed alongside him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he had a bigger impact than just that one mistake. He seemed to have settled the defence, which is what we needed. And he made a couple of challenges where he just literally just bullied the guy off the ball. And it's really...
The first goal came from him, didn't it? It was his reading of the game and cut out, and then we obviously won the second ball when that went up.
Exactly. But like my best mate, who's down here on the bottom with me, he cut himself off so he could come at the bottom with me. If we were to pick apart... If we were to pick apart the Dyer slip or anything in other games, you got to remember they're footballers, and you got to remember as well, as good as he is, he's come from the Italian league to our league, where the speed of our league, and Aston Villa played with a lot of like Ollie Watkins, that he's going to make a mistake. It was his first full game. I think he came on against Chelsea, or I can't remember. No, he started against Chelsea. So he's going to have a mistake. But you know what? What he did, and it's Reguilon has been diabolical apart from the first game of the season. He was on it yesterday. Royale was a little bit nervous to start, but you know what? His energy, his movement, and there were a few times even Romero was getting... There's so much lack of movement in the first half. Romero had the ball, and you could see them, even when we were off the ball, so the cameras would have been elsewhere. He's calling players in, so he had a huge impact. And if he plays a game like that and keeps it... I was very impressed. Jens said he had a great game. Yeah. And he had you got to remember, Romero, I don't even think speaks English right now, so he's controlled that back line, probably just speaking Spanish, and he can speak Portuguese to Dyer. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing, and he can speak Portuguese to Royale.
Right.
And I don't know if he knows Spanish, but they can. The communication of football is. But I think people have talked about that slip, and yeah, he's going to be at fault for a goal. But I reckon if he hadn't been there may have been a few more goals. And I honestly, I can't remember. I don't know if anyone else on the panel can, where both fullbacks actually had a good game, both defensively and attackingly, since Walker and Rose. I really can't.
What I loved about Royale, there was a bit in the first half where someone got through on his side, but he tracked back and made sure he got the ball out. And what I particularly liked is it was Lloris's ball. But how many times last season did we see Lloris waiting for the defender waiting for Lloris?
Yeah.
He didn't get the call, kick it out for a corner. And I like that. I'll take charge then if no one else.
Yeah, Royal tracked back, didn't he? And he
did.
I can't remember who it was against, but it was the I'll take charge. Whereas last year it was so often you take charge. Well, I don't want to take. You take charge.
And it was
Chris,
nice
what would add to that as well, Chris? Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, it was nice to see a tackle in a box by our right back that didn't make me think, oh shit, a penalty's coming.
You know what? The other thing with it, Chris, and you touched it, when you said unlucky, is it unlucky for Tanganga? let's face it, against the Man City was absolutely immense. But the last couple of games, he has not been great. And the thing is, if you're not great, you get dropped. And then it's your position to get back. And then
That's not true. Look at Ali.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that I think is, like you said, from a higher power. Got to play him to increase his value when, in fact, it's decreasing it because he's absolutely shocking. But Tanganga's going to have to work his way back. And I still, to this day, say he's a centre-back. He is a centre-back to me. And do you know what? If you look at it right now, from that performance from the wing-backs, if you were to go, let's just say in a game we wanted to attack, so we didn't necessarily need two defensive midfielders, but like Skip and Højbjerg together, they are a great unit together. They look brilliant. But then with games we can attack, Tanganga could go on the right of Romero and Diagard, and then you've got the back, and we all know Reguilon going forward can be amazing. So I still think that Tanganga is a centre-half with the option of right back if we need to give Royale a rest. Because that performance yesterday, especially watching it live again and seeing his movement and everything, he was great.
Yeah, Tanganga weren't fancied, was he? Like, he was on the verge of going to Galatasaray.
Yeah.
And he obviously had that good game against City. And that sort of, like you just said, that gave him the position, didn't it? That gave him the position, yeah. And we were really strongly linked with Tamiyasu at the time. And our plan sort of changed, I think, from that moment because he looked at him and thought, well, actually, he can do the job. Maybe as backup. But yeah, I probably agree with Brian. I see him more. He will be a centre back in the longer future, I think.
Matt, do you know what you were saying about Tomiyasu and our fans are fickle? Well, apparently he was shocking against Brighton. So he had a good couple of games to begin with against us, Burnley. Yeah. So do you know what I mean? I mean, I really wanted Tomiyasu because what I've seen, look, and then obviously he had the first two games and one of them just so happened to be against us. But apparently against Brighton, he was absolutely, like you said, I mean,
that's it. He probably will be a good player from it. Same as with it's like Romero. I did see him yesterday. He'd done a slip in their half as well, waiting for a slide tackle, and then had to run all the way back. But he was doing that a lot in Italy as well. So that's what I'm saying. I think we just need to be patient. He's gonna make mistakes. Yes, not jump on his back when he does do it because he does like to get forward as well. He's used to playing the back three. It's just important just to try and remain grounded, isn't it? Not to, as I say, we're all bipolar. We all do it. I do it as well. Like it's just one of them things. But he will make mistakes. He will make mistakes. So we just got to get behind him. He's a South American. It takes some time to settle. It's
just look at the bigger picture because he commanded that back four. He commanded it.
Brian, with you saying about Roden coming in, for me, I could see because of the ages, and how they both are. I could see a really solid back two out of Romero and Tandanga. I'll be honest. I like what I've seen of Roden, but I like a lot more what I've seen with the other two. And I think that those two could possibly, given the time as well, to forge a decent partnership.
I mean, Wayne has said here, Emerson will be quality if he stays on his feet, spends less time on the ground. I didn't notice him spending too much time diving in, but
no, I mean, he had a couple of times. I don't know if Wayne Bonner means it the way that he went to ground like a Wan-Bissaka, but what did happen, he had a couple of crunching tackles on him, and we did have. I wouldn't go as far as a Neymar kind of roll, but one of them was a nasty challenge, and it didn't look good to start off with. But I think I don't know which concept Wayne meant. Maybe you can put in the comments whether it was going to ground like a Wan-Bissaka for sliding tackles, or the other way. But you know what? To see a guy, if it's for sliding tackles, you look at someone like a Wan-Bissaka who is amazing with his time. And do you know what? That's the old-fashioned football, and people are scared to do it now because of penalties. But if you don't do it, there could be a goal in it. So to see someone that's willing, and his timing looked good on his sliding tackles, so if it was the other concept of meaning he goes to ground too easy and roll, whatever, that part, but I think that comes with the foreign players wherever they've come from, and they'll soon learn in here, like, you don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite impressed with the defence. I think we all were, to be honest, and it was just nice not to concede 3 goals in a game for once. But Mark, Ndombele came in for Ali. Lo Celso kind of came in for him in what was the game before? The European game? Game. For me, Ali's now third in that pecking order. I have no idea who's first. Yeah, I have no idea for me who's first or second, Ndombele or Lo Celso. Ndombele obviously did that brilliant bit in the second half where he's got out of an impossible corner and got a shot off that Martinez has saved. But for me, I still don't think he's disciplined enough. Just quickly, Wayne said ending on the ground, holding his ankle all the time. That's what you said.
Okay, that one, yeah.
But yeah, Ndombele, he's obviously got all the talent and the skill of someone like a Gaza, but he hasn't got the discipline. And people forget about Eriksen in his prime. He was regularly running 10 kilometres a game and tracking back and everything. So he had the attacking flair and the attacking impetus, but with the discipline of tracking back and helping the team. Whereas Lo Celso just has an amazing game and then has about 5 where he just doesn't turn up. Then has an amazing game, another 6 where he doesn't turn up. But
you mean the games where he goes on international duty and then comes back and he's shit for us?
Well, Mura, he was really good, wasn't he? But obviously that's Mura. But I mean, Mark, who's number 10 for you? We've got 3 there if you include Ali as well. But for me, he's right down the pecking order now. So it's between Ndombele and Lo Celso. But for you, who plays against Newcastle in that position if everybody's fit for after international break?
Not to get technical, but is Lo Celso allowed to play? I know that they can come back and self-isolate in Hotspur Way now. I don't know. I don't know whether he can play or not.
I'm sure I saw something that the Premier League have given the players allowance to go, but whether that's, I don't know. But
no, I don't know. Again, like I said, with what I always say about Sanchez and Dyer, it's a toss of a coin, isn't it? It wouldn't be Ali, that's for sure. It would be a toss of a coin between Lo Celso and Ndombele. I prefer Ndombele to Lo Celso because I just like the way he plays. We've said, Chris, how long have we been saying that he has got everything to be the best midfielder in the world? And I remember you asked me a question, God, probably a year ago. Where would you play? Would you play him further up or would you play him inside? And I said I'd prefer him further up because if he gives the ball away, which he will keep doing because he tries risky things. That's the style of footballer he is. If he gives it away in the final third, it ain't going to be as damaging as if he's back defending. And I know, Brian, you've been saying the same recently as well, that we want him up the pitch. We want him in a free role, Van der Vaart type, where he doesn't have to do all the tracking back.
Does Nuno have a free role, do you think? Or do you think every role has to have defensive responsibility?
No, he does, and I just disagree with that concept of it. Is what I'm trying to say. For me, I don't see the point in Ndombele getting back because he will just give the ball away again. Because he does. That's how he plays. He's like a futsal player rather than a footballer. To be honest with you, he'll just have moments of magic. You see it, Chris, where he got, as you said, twisted them 2 players, completely spun them. That's what he does. And if you play him consistently, I think he'll do more and more and more of that. He just needs. He needs that role. If you give him that freedom, I think he could be an excellent player for us. But I don't know whether we're ever going to see that.
I don't think Nuno would allow a player to just have a free role and shirk defensive responsibilities. Even Kane kind of tracks back. But
there's no point playing him then. If you don't want that, Lo Celso is more of a workhorse, isn't he? He's got a bit of skill as well, but he will do that defensive work as well. He's got a bit of shithousery about him as well, a bit of the lamellas, where he'll put his foot in. So if you don't want to give Ndombele that free role, then to be honest with you, you got to play Lo Celso. That's my opinion.
What would you do, Jens? I think the formation that we've seen there, 4 at the back, maybe 4-3-3, but certainly a kind of number 10 there, I think is the way that Nuno's going to go. Who would you stick in there?
I'd go with Mora. I think Mora was absolutely brilliant at number 10 last season. And on Bailey, I love to see him play when he when he does. Am
I getting the elbow here?
No, Ndombele, I love to see him play. That kind of player. As always, we've always had someone like that in our Tottenham teams. But as Mark said, where do you play it? That's the problem. I mean, you're never going to get a full. I would say, if you have someone in the first team, you need them to give at least 65 minutes of decent play. You can let them off for 25. But Ndombele, it seems we get half an hour, and then a lot of the time it doesn't happen for him. Lo Celso, I was really excited when we signed him, but yeah, he has one good game in 6 or 7. Anybody but Ali. Let's just say that.
What would you do, Brian? Obviously, you've been, like Mark said, you want Ndombele in a free role. I just don't see Nuno allowing that and having someone to have a free role and not really any defensive responsibilities. I think whoever plays in the team has to have defensive responsibilities, which, like you say, and like Mark says, is not even close to Ndombele's strength. And like Jens says, Lo Celso has a good game every 5 and Ali has a good game every 3 years. But who would you have in that number 10?
Last week I said I want Ndombele in a free role. And I did play a cam on 2 players, and this is one of them. And now I want Ndombele on a free role on the M25 anywhere from Tottenham. Because yesterday...
You want him out of the team?
I want him out of the club. I want him gone. I've got a new nickname for him. His energy bursts are so short. It's like when you play FIFA and you push triangle for extra pace. You push it, he bursts for 3 seconds.
The bottom trigger, mate. That's where you're going wrong.
Yesterday, he was absolutely, apart from that little turn that you mentioned about, which we know he can do. His body language. Now, a lot of the things that I was studying yesterday was obviously you see their body language and their commitment to running back or getting back into position, and he is just the most laziest. I mean, I thought Benjamin Stambouli, who I also call FIFA, was bad. This guy, you know what he's capable of, but it's so frustrating. Like his passes was way off. Like during the game yesterday, he just wasn't there. Like in giving it his foot, he was shocking. Like absolutely, it weren't just me saying it. Loads of people saying it. And what I said, what I would prefer to see in future, if he was to play, I'd like to see Lo Celso start and get a run, and then bring Ndombele on when teams are knackered and he's fully fit, because then they're at the same level. Because literally, then. But the thing is, with people that are tiring, then Ndombele can come in and do what he does for like 30. I'd rather see him end and get 35, 45 minutes from him there, where he can really impact it, rather than 45 minutes and then we're forced every single game to make a sub, and it's always him. Every single game, before you go into a game, right, let's see how this is going. Then after about 60, and he lasted 70, so miracles do happen. But it means that you know at a certain point you have to make a sub. And with our lacking depth, it's very, very hard to make that decision. Now,
you agree with that? Do you agree? Max obviously getting bored just tweeting in because he hasn't spoken for 5 minutes. But Ndombele, do you agree with that name?
Completely. He was literally. And the frustrating thing is, and I don't know what Tottenham Hotspur blooming YouTube channel. I don't know what the people that upload stuff are doing, because 2 things they did. One of them is the other player cam. Tuesday night when the Champions League started, they released the top 10 of Harry Kane's European goals. And like, well done. Put that on the Champions League day when we're about to play in the Euro Conference League. And then on Saturday, they said, Ndombele's dazzling skills in training. And I'm like, well, yes, but in training, no one goes in on him hard. Yeah, you got to track back. It's like, why are you putting these things out?
The thing is, though, right? If we're suggesting that the people above are saying play Ali, then they're going to be saying play on Ndombele because he's worth more. We've paid more for him, and he's on higher wages.
Yeah,
like, how would we get rid of him? How can we get rid of this guy?
The thing is, and what you got to look at this now. And I was saying this in the summer. When we bought him in the French league, he looked like, when you saw the YouTube or what the scouts was in the French league, he looks like the greatest thing you've ever seen. And we know that he can do it. But right now, we bought him, and obviously it was a big deal. It was our record transfer because we hadn't spent for 18, blah, blah, blah. But now, you're going to try, let's say we're trying to sell him. And like, you're trying to sell it. It's like, yeah, he's really good on the ball, but he gets upset if his friends are leaving.
Yep.
He can't last 60 minutes.
He's lazy.
He
Yep.
he gets moody and whatever. Do you want to take him? Then
Exactly.
he'll be like, so we've dug ourselves into a hole. So
But yeah, he's on 200. He's on 200 grand a week.
oh yeah, let's add that. Oh yeah, he's on 200 because then any club that comes in for him, if there's anything
Got
left, he'll
a
just
hair
say,
colour.
he'll just say, do you know what I think we should do? And I think it's because in training we should allow him. You know, people are allowed to wear gloves. He should be able to wear that hat he wears in training every single game because then I'm sure he'll do well. But when people talk about Lo Celso, you got to remember the very first season when COVID broke, so not last season, season before, when Kane and Son were both injured. If it weren't for Lo Celso, we would have been in a hell of a lot of trouble. He was simply awesome. All right, he didn't have the goals or the assists, but his movement and getting the ball up the field and everything was incredible. And I've nicknamed him Giola Anderton because he's always bloody injured. And literally, we've got to the point. He's played now under. I think he came on loan under Poch, obviously. He's had Jose. He's had Mason. Now he's got Nuno, and it's like we can't find that right position. And again, I don't think a 4-3-3 suit. We've got so many players that don't suit a 4-3-3, yet we play a 4-3-3. And I'd like to see Lo Celso actually get a good run. I was annoyed that he didn't start because, all right, he had a great game and it was against Mura because they're but if you have a good game, keep him and build it up. And then if he's had a bad game, you got on the bench to do what I said. So,
but don't that feed into the narrative, Brian, that we are playing these players because we need to get rid of them. They're in the shop window.
Yeah, I mean, well, then we're going back to into a narrative that I love going into. Yeah, I mean, I can see these. I can see the direction. I can see these 3 moves ahead. I can see it happening. But yeah, I want to see Lo Celso because Ndombele, like I said, not only was his on the ball stuff. I mean, his passing was way off. He's getting back into position, like we were saying, like you said about just before. All I want him to do is get back into shape. We know he's not going to tackle, but just do it. But thankfully, unlike the Arsenal game, we had Skip and Højbjerg. So that kind of covered that part. But we were when I was sitting in the South Stand, we wanted Lo Celso on a lot quicker than when he came on for Ndombele.
When you got Skip and Højbjerg in the middle, mate. At the moment, Tottenham can't afford to carry anybody. And
exactly.
When Ndombele plays, we're carrying him and we're carrying Kane. Right?
Yeah.
For me, it's ridiculous. We can't afford to carry either. You know, just because because I said this to Mark when we did our thing. Ndombele showed moments like he does most games. He shows moments, and then he gets he falls over like a falling bloody tree, or he's so frustrating because you know what he's got. You can see it with what he does. And he frustrates me more than he does anything else. But and this is another reason I put Gio in. Gio, he might need a few games to really get into his groove, but he still gives more when he's on the pitch, than what I believe Ndombele does. And with Kane, trying to bring his price tag down by not scoring in the Premier League and kind of showing a bit of disinterest.
Wait till I get to talk about Kane, mate. Wait till I get to talk about Kane.
I don't like the cunt either, so don't worry about it. On the pitch, don't get me wrong. He wears a shirt, I'll support him. Off it, fuck off. Anyway, but it is. We can't afford to carry these people at the end of the day. And if you don't want to play for it, fuck off. I've had enough. I'm fed up of seeing these, overpriced prima donnas, thinking that they're above the people who stand in the crowd and pay their wages, because they kick a football about, and it gets to a stage where you just sit there and go, why the fuck should I even bother anymore? Because it just gets frustrating, and and little antics like where they, throw their toys out the pram because they haven't got the move that they want, and the extra £200,000 a week they thought they were going to get at a different club or whatever else. Just bugger off. Get people who want to play for the shirt. Get everybody going to fight. And I think if we'd have played anybody else other than Villa, yesterday, you know, and Villa being yesterday, and Villa being a hot and cold team, a bit like Tottenham are, it could have easily have been another miserable end to the weekend.
I mean, a couple of comments from Wayne here, pretty much echoing what's been said. Kane wants to keep dropping, give Tanguy a free role. He'll bring the wide players into the game and open up the defence. And then also, Lo Celso is a quality player, good consistent run, and he'll prove his worth. And unlike Tanguy, Lo Celso works for the team. I agree with you, Mac. I think.
Can I just say to Wayne, I don't have visibility of those comments, so I wasn't nicking your thunder.
He was.
Yeah, I agree with you though, Mac. I think Lo Celso is one of those players who needs a run in the team. I don't think he's one of those players who can just turn it on when he gets like bits and pieces of games here and there. I think he needs a run in the team. But I'd definitely play him for his new, as long as he comes back from the international break. Okay, I'd definitely play him for that one. But yeah, I mean, been mentioned there slightly by Wayne. We have to come on to Harry. We have to talk about him. Obviously, Brian said wait till he talks about him. So I'm going to say my piece, which is defending him a little bit. And then I'm going to come to Mark and Jens. And then hopefully by then, Brian would have calmed down and won't bite my head off. I don't.
He knows you're going to defend him.
Well, he's gone to the bathroom. He's psyching himself up, I think, just to talk about Kane. But
hold on. He should have just pissed himself. No one would have known.
But obviously, the Kane stuff in the summer, you know, it's really dented his reputation and his legacy, kind of at the moment. But I think the thought of Kane not wanting to play for Spurs and how his heart's not in it and everything, I think against Arsenal, that third goal, he obviously fell over. I think if his heart's not in it, he doesn't make that 70-yard run back and try and you know, he doesn't make that 70-yard run back and try and stop the goal. If his heart's not in it, he just falls over, jogs back. But yeah, and hopefully Kane will look like a football player again at some point this season, Wayne says. But I think he just needs a goal. If he gets a goal in the Premier League, he'll end up firing on all cylinders again, and then we'll have the Kane back that we people know and expect. But Mark, what do you think of Kane this season and yesterday? And do you think he'll come good at the end of the season and get his traditional 10, 15, 20 goals a season?
Yeah, I think he'll get 15 to 20 goals this season. I do think it's just a matter of time. I've had these discussions with both Mac and Brian, to be honest with you, already on other streams. I do think he just needs that goal. And he is a traditional slow starter. But what it is, we're all pissed off of him still. So we're not giving him any fucking leeway. And I understand the reasons why. I do get the reasons why. I agree with you, Chris. I don't think it's because he's not trying. I just don't think it's coming off for him at the minute. And I do think, and I've asked this question to Brian before as well, that if you would have been hounded the way that some of our fans, and again, I understand why, the reasons why he was hounded in the summer as well. But like some of the abuse that his brother got was disgusting. And if someone was abusing my family like that, and then I'm thinking, then people are still in the fucking stands, I'd be pissed off. And I'm not saying subconsciously that must be playing on his mind. I do think it's going to take a while for him to, and us, to forget what's happened in the bloody summer. I do think once he gets going, then. And I know that's a controversial view, right? And I know some of you ain't going to agree. I don't give a fuck.
It's not
but we're fighting. Don't let me come up there.
It's an emotional thing. Oh, sorry.
But if you be honest with yourself, if people are abusing you and your family, yeah, and some of the stuff was disgusting, that is going to play on your mind. They're humans at the end of the day. So I do think he is trying. He hasn't been playing well, and he's really out of form. Where we've been stitched up really is we ain't got a fucking backup.
And the problem is though, he got stitched up by his brother, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
I make no excuses, Mac. You know that. I make no excuses. I said I won't see his name. He's a disgrace.
His brother is to blame, right? At the end of the day, Charlie came, right? Fucking sitting there in his office with his motorbike and his suit when he's got his one client, fucking knobhead, right? Anyway. He's sat there. He's created this issue. Right, he knows how he wants to go. Harry thinks he's going to go. Okay, Charlie Kane hasn't been able to do it because he doesn't know his arse from his fucking elbow. Okay,
Matt, this is old news, mate. It's old news. We know all this.
We know it's old news, but also at the same time, this is where I think that the view is different. You think get a couple of goals and he'll be back to his best. Until he puts his heart back into wearing that shirt, I don't think he's gonna be anywhere. He might get the goals, but I don't think he's going to be half as committed as what he has done in previous seasons, because I genuinely don't believe his heart's at Tottenham anymore. And
Maybe not.
And a point that I will reiterate when I was interviewed by Michael Bridge before the Euro game was, Kane has always stated, I will stay at Tottenham as long as the club match my ambition. He has been at the club long enough to know Levy is a tight-fisted, bald cunt, right? And
I love him. I love him.
And and there is not a hope in
He dropped the C-bomb, Chris.
There is.
I know. One more chance.
We're 51 minutes in. Bollocks, right? He knows the ambition of that club is, let's get there or thereabouts. Let's make sure enough money comes into the coffers. Let's just get by buying what we can. If we can bargain basement it and fuck it up, we will. Right? Kane knows that's the Tottenham model under Levy. So why is he sitting there going, as long as you match my ambition, as long as you match my ambition? If he knows Tottenham as well as he thinks he does, and as well as we know, then that guy would have left when he got his when he got his loan to Millwall, would have made it permanent.
But hold on then.
Okay.
I've said this to Brian as well. A lot of us are new to the Levy out stuff, and so are you, right?
Yeah.
So we thought that we were on the right track as well. So you can't suddenly, like, hindsight's 2020, mate. You can't start saying that. When he signed the contract, we were doing okay.
But we had a manager who got the best out of us, and we were punching the problem.
I know that.
But
But
that's
that's the
and
point.
this is the thing. It's not a hindsight thing, and I know me and you. You know, I've defended Levy and stuff, and I won't deny that fact. You know, the way the club has been run, I think has been very well done. You know, to keep us in the position that we're in, to be able to do some of the things that we have done, and you've got to give Levy credit for that. But the problem you've got is all of a sudden you wake up and you see the wood for the trees. And you spend 30 plus years supporting a club, you know, being blind to the fact, being a forever optimist that you know from as long as you've known me that I always was, to all of a sudden wake up one day and go, actually, do you know what? This prick actually is probably the cancer that is destroying this club from the inside, right? Because he does what he does, because he won't pay the extra $5 million to secure the services of somebody who could make the difference between us being back in the top four regular and, you know, and possibly having, you know, an FA Cup or whatever come back to Tottenham. And that goes for managers as well as players, you know.
So if you was employed by that person and he shafted you in the summer, would you have that on your mind when you step out there? You don't know.
I'll tell you what, mate, I started a new job 3 weeks ago. Do you know why? Because my gaffer shafted me. I gave him 3 weeks. I found a new job and I fucked off. Right?
You tried to do that.
Because I think, but when I stayed there, I wasn't happy. The difference between me and a professional footballer is he can't do anything till the transfer window. I could, right? So, you know, but my point is, it doesn't matter whether he was promised to be allowed to leave or not. It doesn't matter whether we had a gentleman's agreement, whether they tickled each other's bumholes in the changing rooms after the game, after a couple of minutes. I really don't care, right? The bottom line is, okay, the guy doesn't want to be there. If he doesn't want to be there, then you just then keep yourself away from it. All right? Talk to the gaffer. Say, listen, I don't want to be here. My heart's not in it. I can't give you everything I need to give you. So sadly, I think it's best I go train with the under 23. Okay? When I was having my issue with my boss, I went out and did my job safely. I did what I had to do. I still did my job safely, but I didn't have the same passion. I didn't have the same.
Are you blowing him out, Chris?
Huh?
No, it must be his internet cutting out. You're breaking up a little bit.
I'm breaking up. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting muffled. All right. But you know, yeah, that's it. Yeah, the boy got big shut up, boys. Victimised. Oh, love me. Yeah, no, and it is, but you got to wake up when if you see that wood for the trees, mate. You can't sit there and then start denying the fact that or put those rose tinted glasses back on. And I think that I don't think for the ambition that Kane portrays himself to have, that he has looked at Tottenham for the last 10 years through rose tinted glasses, and all of a sudden he is 28 and thinks, "Oh bugger, I've got to do something, to win a trophy or get myself £400,000 a week." He's known what Tottenham's been like for the whole time he's been there. So I kind of feel like it's a bit bollocks in that respect. Don't sit there and say match my ambition when you know exactly what Levy's like. And the only saving grace Levy's had in the last 10 years is Pochettino galvanising a team that has punched well above its weight for the whole time he was with them, up until the last half season just prior to the Champions League final for him leaving.
Yeah, I do agree with Mark that when he signed that deal, we were looking on the up. But it's my podcast, I can do what I want. But the issue Kane had is, it's his brother as well. Why you let someone of that valuable sign a 6-year deal with no release clause is ridiculous. I think Kane's anger is threefold. I think it's at himself and his brother for signing that deal, Tottenham and Levy for obvious reasons, and Man City, which have got more money than most countries, not putting that money in.
Wasn't the deal signed with his old agent?
Don't forget though, he's got to be angry at his mum as well, because his mum probably told him, "Make sure you give your Charlie a good job. Make sure you look after him."
India Spurs said, "Let's not forget Kane is playing under a new manager. It will take a while." I have to say I disagree with that. I think a player of that ability can play in any.
You look at what he's done under he did it under Ryan, he did it under Jose, he did it under Paul.
Yeah, but Jens, I'll come to you quickly just before I go to Brian, who looks like he's seething at the moment. I'll come to you soon, Brian, I promise.
Listen, I'm just hoping people can make Jens laugh, because he's got the best laugh on WhatsApp. So there it is. See, there you go.
Brian, you've not seen him supping. Beer, mate. He's on his way. He's fine.
Oh, mate, I'm normally on a very late stream with him, and he laughs a hell of a lot more. I can see that he's moved some furniture near his stream, so he looked like he was having his passport photo taken every stream. So yeah, he's done that. He's lifted the seat up a little bit higher, because he's normally about a few meters down. But yeah, go on, Jens, off you go, and then I'll give my Kane verdict.
Yeah, what do you think, Jens, of Kane? And do you think he just needs that goal and then he'll kick into gear? Or do you think, like Max says, his heart's not in it? It doesn't matter how many goals he scores. He's just not going to be the Kane that we have known for 6 years.
Yeah, I don't think his heart's in it this season.
Yes, Dan.
I know he started slow before, but that was usually the August hoodoo, wasn't it? And now we're in October and he still doesn't look anywhere near his old self. I'm really not happy with the way that he drops so deep these days as well. It just seems he's getting in the way of the midfield. And we need someone.
But is that not the fault of the other players? Last year he was doing that, and Son or Mora or both were going beyond him. Kane dropping deep is absolutely fine if you've got someone who another position takes Kane's space, which wasn't happening. I personally think if we keep playing like we did against Villa, the goals will come because we're attacking. Against the other teams, the last three, we didn't even lay a glove on 3 opponents, and Kane didn't have a sniff of a touch, let alone a chance. But
the thing is, with him dropping deep, he's the best finisher at the club, if not in the country, if not in the world. We need him in and around the box. We should have someone who does that dropping deep for him, and he is. I'm not saying he goal hang, but he's in and all around the box and knocking those goals in. So I think it was a massive shame over the summer with his brother. I don't know how much of it was Harry egging his brother on, saying, "Come on, we can do this." Neither of them seem to be the sharpest tools in the box. And when you're going up against against a mastermind like Daniel Levy, you need to be
why did you say that? Mastermind and Parasite. They don't. No.
Yeah, okay. You know, as in his negotiating style and the way that he does business, you know, that's it's like two people going down the pub and picking two of your drinking mates and saying, "Oh, come on, we'll go and take on the chairman of ICI if that still exists." It's just I don't think they really knew what they were getting into, it all went to shit for them, didn't it? So
yeah, I mean.
But anyway, I need to go and get my hard hat now because I think Brian's going to start chucking things. So.
Just laugh at something he says; he'll forgive you. Yeah, Mark, Mac, Jens have had our say. Brian, floor is yours.
Okay, so
I'm just going to mute my mic so I don't interrupt you, mate. Hold on.
Do you know what it is? It's, as I've said on streams all last week, if you play him in a 1, or we play Harry Kane in a 1, you have the best striker in the world. He does not suit a 4-3-3. He does not. It doesn't matter what you do. Harry Kane, you saw how a 4-3-3 could work against City with Son, Bergwijn, Moura. Well, they've all got pace. They can all interchange and do whatever. That's not Kane's game. And that's not his fault because what he does, he's the best in the world at. But we're not playing him in the position to do that. Now, what I want to talk about with him, again, I don't really want to harp on the crap that happened in the summer. It's the after effects now. And again, when you see him he was the one that me and Danny were really looking at. He is why are you showing a picture of the fucking... See, you know what? That's the thing. There he looks like he's celebrating a goal and happy and whatever. There is just absolutely... Why am I going through This Is Your Life or through the keyhole at Gareth's house? I'm going, who lives in a house like this?
David, it's over to you.
so getting back to Kane, his body language, Son the whole time, and Son was superb yesterday. Son was absolutely immense yesterday. And it wasn't just him. When people, why am I getting okay? If every time I mention a player, here we go. So back to Kane, yeah. God, I really feel like I'm in Match of the Day now, and he's the green screen. So there were so many times Son was getting in ready. Kane is 10, 15 yards behind. Where he normally was last season, he's just, he's not blessed with pace, but he's just like this. He's just going through the motions. His back heel, which you obviously saw, was immense, but he is just not putting in the effort. It's his body. Like I said, I don't want to talk about his body language. He's like, when the cross came in from Emerson and he couldn't get to it, he didn't even try. The old Kane would have been in sliding to try and get a connection with it, like Gazza did with Anderton in Euro 96. There would have been some effort. There would have been some, and like I've said before, when we go a goal down or a goal is conceded, Harry Kane is normally there going, come on, lads, come on. He just walks back by himself, head down, off he goes. And then when we scored the second goal, he's normally the first to run over and go, yeah. And cut. He just went up high five, and he starts walking back by himself, head down. And then the final part that really pissed me off is normally at the end of the game, when you got the 3 points, there's like a yes or whatever. Now, the final moment of the game, the ball went out. So I'm sitting in the south stand to the right of me. So if you're thinking of the old stadium and I was in the Paxton, the west stand, it went out and he's right by the crowd. And normally you get a yes or whatever. He just walked back and then he started walking. He just doesn't. Yeah, like Max said, some of the abuse he's got and everything he is, and we discussed this about mental health and everything last week. I totally agree with that. When it comes to abuse, like when at the protest yesterday, I won't say the Daniel Levy jelly and ice cream song because as much as I hate him, I don't wish that on anyone. But it's, and I was just discussing way before, I've said it, you'll see, when he's with England this week, you will see a different Harry Kane. He will be running in for those challenges. He'll be running out and making his body language. And people say, oh, but he's the captain. Well, he's the vice captain of Tottenham, and he's, to use an American term, he's the franchise player. He's the gold boy. He's the face of Tottenham. And it's You know what? When Luka Modric wanted to leave and he didn't, he gave everything. And you see other players that have done that and they give everything. And then they get their move or whatever. But they say, do you know what? It didn't happen. I'm not going to let it get to me. Because don't get me wrong, Modric came in for him. Everyone that puts in a transfer request, which he didn't technically do, he said he wanted to leave, they're going to come into abuse because they love so much and you're going to lose your player. But everyone was going, woohoo, Harry Kane scored a 19-minute hat-trick against Mura. I could score a 19-minute hat-trick against Mura if you give me the service. You really could. Everyone, and it's, if you look at it, he's played well in 2 Europa League games. He came on against Wolves and could have scored, and a Harry Kane last season would have scored that. But then he came out because we gave him that great reception. I'm staying. A thank you to the fans. And then Crystal Palace, Chelsea, and Arsenal, the games where he started, have been our worst performances. And then yesterday, like I said, he did a few bits and bobs, but he keeps going out to the left wing. He's literally he's not running, busting the gut to get in the positions. He's not tracking. A lot of the time he's just looking the balls up. He's lost something, or we all know what he's lost. But I just hate seeing it because I think a lot of it may be because of this 4-3-3. I don't understand. I can't remember. I think it was Redknapp that said, "Listen, football's easy. Just put the 11 best players in their best position, and off you go." And when you've got the best number 9 in Europe and possibly the world, I mean, that's how good he is. And we all know his scoring records and then you go, yeah, that's really, really good. But you're the best in the world there. But what we're going to do is we're going to play you here. And the worst thing about it is we can't even give the guy a break because of injuries and whatever, because we haven't got a backup. He is overplayed and undervalued by Levy. And when I say undervalued, I don't mean contract-wise. I mean undervalued like he doesn't need help. This is Harry Kane. He does. You know, he's so overplayed. This is where his ankle injury started because he just plays every single goddamn game. And if Kane's fit, Kane plays. Or if Kane's semi-fit, as we know, he plays.
Is that partly Kane's own doing, though, Brian? I
think it is because trying to get a player in and say, listen, your second fiddle to Kane is hard. But you know what? There's time where Harry Kane does need a rest. There is time, and what Harry Kane needs, and as we've said it with other players, they have no competition. So it's like I could just. I know I'm going to play, like when we kept playing Aurier every single week. Or
you know what? Right. And sorry, mate, but I'll go to a quick story just to. Mark's heard this a couple of times, but I went to a Pat Jennings and
Tony Parks
night, and he used to say the same about Lloris while Friedel was there. When we got the best out of Lloris, when Friedel was there, battling him, chewing at his ankle.
Exactly.
That number 1 shirt's mine, mate. So it's like Lloris this season. He's come in and we've got Galini chomping at his heels, a good young goalkeeper. And Lloris is back to showing some of his old form. So, you know, it shows that if you're guaranteed, I think this is the thing with Dele. I think one of the things with Dele as well, at one point he was one of the first names on the team sheet. Now he's got competition, but rather than raise his game and, you know, come up to the challenge, he's thought, fuck it, I'm still getting your money.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, like I said, Harry Kane needs, whether it's we need time, like, you know, he's going to get an injury. He's not good. I mean, I don't think he's ever had a suspension. He's racked up yellow cards, but I don't think he's got to the suspension level. But he knows I'm going to play. And then obviously when you say, you know what, the downturn in Dele for me is when we sold Dembele. And guess what? We didn't sign a replacement because we're a great businessman and we don't need one. So we moved him from his best position into midfield. And then it was like, well, how can I do that? But you've also got to remember with Dele Alli, he had Wanyama and Dembele and he had Eriksen. So he had Braun up, like you couldn't get past those two. Then you had Eriksen when he was on form delivering everything he did. And there's I mean, Dele Alli now is behind Foden, behind Sancho. He's behind so many players when a few years ago he would have been night and day ahead of them.
I'd even put him behind Jack Wilshere at the moment. He ain't even got a club.
Well, do you know what? We were actually saying when it was Dembele and I realised I went to the bathroom, I didn't get to say it. I screamed at half time. At half time and before the game, the guest that was there for the half time entertainment was Rafa van der Vaart. And he was wearing a suit and trainers, and I literally screamed down, listen, can you come on for Dembele? Because literally I would have had him on in his suit. Because Van der Vaart is like but Kane, you know, I'm so annoyed with him because of his attitude and his body language. But then again, I can't fault him because we're playing him in a formation that does not suit him. And until we do, we can't.
Brian, sorry I'm going to play sort of the knobhead here a little bit, but how are we playing him in a position that doesn't suit him when it paid dividend for him dropping back when we had Jose, and for him spearheading a 3 up front under Poch, and every season he was smashing it.
Well, under Poch, obviously, we peak Poch, we were unstoppable. Like that last season at the Lane.
I'm not trying to be a dickhead, yeah.
No. But again, there were the players there that could allow him to do what he did. What happened with Jose is obviously he got this connection with Son and Kane, which they got going, but they weren't really. But this season, it's like we've lost Bow because then you had Bow on that side that could chip in whenever he was playing. Don't get me wrong, when he was playing, and we're so right now with Skip and Højbjerg, who I think are integral to us. I mean, Højbjerg, I wax lyrical about this dude everywhere I can. But Kane and Son, it's like literally there's not the same. Son is playing more central, and then Kane's going left, and it's like, I started thinking, were you doing that because of Kane's Son's pace against who's the Brazilian defender for Chelsea, the old dude, Thiago? Yeah. So and they were saying that, but now I'm looking at it. I don't think it's because Son is doing everything. He's dropping left, he's dropping, but when Son drops left to interchange, Kane ain't busting the gut to go into the centre. So then there's just Son is going at 110%, whilst Harry Kane just simply isn't going nowhere near 100. So I think, honestly, when you go to the matches, you'll see it. Son is buzzing up everywhere, and we'll see. Obviously, when he goes away with England, if he plays well for England and grabs a brace or a goal every game, I'm going to go absolutely fucking mental.
Thing is, though, Brian, like he was getting slated at the Euros for dropping off by everyone.
Yeah, you don't know what. But this is the thing, Mac. You know what it is, because it's a Tottenham striker, not just because it's Harry Kane and obviously his record. Everyone, unless you're a Tottenham fan, they hate Harry Kane because he always scores against them.
Yeah,
and they did this. They did this where they wanted Owen in with Sheringham. They did this when they wanted Beckham in instead of Anderton. But Harry Kane,
but he was doing it though. He was dropping off. That's the
thing. But again, he had the England players doing what Son does for him. So if you got it's just literally, like I said, England is a different thing where his heart's in it. He's the England captain.
You know what? Honestly, I went to the final. I went to the semi-final. He weren't playing well during the Euros, and he didn't play well against Poland. He didn't play well. He scored a great goal, but he has not been playing well for England either.
No, but look what he did. Yeah, he scored great, exactly. But he did that for Poland in an international, and this is what I've been going mad about. And the game wasn't brilliant. He dropped deep and said, "You know what? I'm Harry Kane. I'm world class. I'm going to change this game." Dropped deep, got the ball, and does what he does best, which is shoot. And he's not doing it.
But he did take that shot. He did take that shot yesterday where it was a quick free kick, and it obviously didn't work out. But it ain't coming off for him. Don't get me wrong, and he isn't playing well. And I agree with what you're all saying. I don't think he's not, isn't it? But he is trying. I don't buy that he's not trying. And he obviously behind the scenes is doing stuff right. And I accept we ain't got no one else really, so you have to play him. But for me, I just don't buy that he's not trying.
Matt, are you going to a game anytime soon?
I went to the. Are you talking to Mac or me?
Sorry, you. Sorry, I didn't mean Mac. Yeah, no, to you, Mark. Sorry, I meant Mark.
I went on Thursday, but I'm not.
Okay, so he came when he's got. But when you next going to a Premier League game or
I'm open to go to Newcastle, but I have to wait and see if I can get a ticket. But
so if you go to Newcastle, you're going up to Newcastle, obviously.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't go to there'll be an NFL game going on there, so don't go. But you what? When I say watch him, watch him like player cam, like they did on Sky, where you can watch someone 15 minutes. Don't just watch his overall demeanour. And it's not Harry Kane.
I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying. I don't think his heart is in it. But what I'm saying is, I can understand the reasons why your heart. If you think about the reasons why his heart wouldn't be in it, I can see why his heart.
But see, the thing I get with that, the only thing, and turn my camera off since I need a cigarette, and it weren't the Harry
I
Kane
just
talk.
want to make it to the toilet with you.
So it's literally, like I said, he's turned up against the easy games, and don't get me wrong, he looked a lot better in the Carabao Cup for Wolves. I even was on We Are Tottenham TV, and I said he had a great performance that looked more like the Harry Kane we know, because I wanted to start the North London derby if we play a 3, because and he turned up against Wolves. It's been in the Premier League where it's a completely different Harry Kane. It's a completely different Harry Kane. I'm just going to turn the camera off whilst I have a cigarette.
Oh, well, anyone would think we lost the game. Like,
Is the Kane.
What's your opinion, Chris? What do you think? What do you think? You haven't said much. What do you think about it?
Well, like I said, I agree with you. I don't think he's not trying, because he doesn't make that 70-yard run back against Arsenal if he's not trying. And I just think he needs a goal. I think he's had 3.
It was his fuck up. That's because it was his fuck up that he ran back.
Yeah, but if your heart's not in it, you make a fuck up and then you go, oh, well, it's not my problem. Someone else can deal with it. But it was his mess up, and then he thought, well, it's my responsibility. I'm going back. If your heart's not in it, you don't really care. So you make a mess up and then you go, oh, well, not my problem. So I think if his heart's not in it, he doesn't make that run back. In terms of the goals, he looks like he's snatching at goals to me. Like Arthur said it, didn't he, Jens, on a Eugene stream yesterday? He thinks the whole summer and the fact that Spurs fans not turned on him, but Spurs fans aren't
behind him as much.
Yeah, has affected him a little bit, and it looks like he's lacking a bit of confidence. That chance right at the end, it bobbled off his chest and then his knee and then his leg, and then he was too close to Martinez to score.
One thing I just want to say, look what happened to David Beckham after Argentina. He got it every single place he went from the away team, and look at he ended up winning the treble, and he had the season of his life.
He did have some fairly good players with him, though, where we've got
you might have found my battleship with that counter.
What do you mean? We've got Harry Winks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who needs tall skulls when you got wings? But I think if we attack more, I mean, we attacked a lot more in that game than we did in 3 games in total, I think. If we attack more, it suits Kane, obviously, because there's going to be more stuff coming into the box for him. Obviously, he's then going to have to be told or take the decision himself to get into the box. It suits Son, because he's going to get the ball early and he's going to be one-on-one with people. And like you saw, well, certainly for the goal, he took out whoever that defender was that was with him. He stopped him and then went again for fun. And it suits us. But, I mean, Mark, do you think we will attack more? Do you think it will be that was just a one-off because Villa kind of weren't there? They didn't really turn up, Villa. They kind of played like we had in the last 3 games, and we were into them fairly early doors, like we were against City, and then the impetus was with us, and we attacked. It was good to see us attacking all through the game. I can't remember who said it on here. As soon as we conceded the goal, we then attacked it rather than sit back. But do you think we'll attack more? Or do you think that was just a one-off and then it'll be a kind of conservative kind of game again? I'd love to see us attack more, because we're obviously far better with Kane, however he's playing, and Son, and Morva, and whoever, and Lascelles, than defending.
If we don't attack, mate, I can't see him being in a job after Christmas, to be honest with you. Because if we go back to that style now, it doesn't work for us, does it? We've seen it. We might be getting wins at the beginning of the season, but it's not us, mate. And the fans are going to turn on him. He can't, as far as I'm concerned, he cannot go back.
Turn on Nuno, you mean?
Yeah.
But they kind of already have, haven't they? I mean,
this is what I mean. This is what I'm saying.
I was convinced if we lost yesterday, he was out of the job by the international break, which is ridiculous after 7 games. But
yeah,
do you think the pressure's been lifted on him a little bit by this game, or do you think it's only been lifted for 2 weeks? Because if he loses to Newcastle, we're exactly back where we were.
I'm gutted he hasn't gone. We've missed out on Ranieri. Fuck.
I'm going to sound like a massive. This is what I'm saying about like we're bipolar, and I'm reactionary. As you know, what I mean, I changed my mind. I said he needs to go if we don't beat Villa, but then I'm saying give the new players a chance. But we've had I'm sick of saying it. Like we had a year and a half of Mourinho playing shit football. We needed a manager that was going to come in and play attacking style of football and have a plan to do that. And If he ain't doing that, I don't want to see him. It's as simple as that, really. Because I'm just fed up of that style. We can win.
Yeah.
It is one of them, Chris. If he carried on winning, if he won against
Oh, yeah,
Arsenal,
no one cares, do they? 1-0 wins with one shot on target the entire game. No one cares, do they?
No,
But as soon as, exactly like Joe say, like you say, as soon as you lose with that style of play, not on.
That's what I mean. So he has to, if he wants to stay in a job, he has to come up with a plan of attacking football and show us something. Because we will accept if we are, if we lost 3-2 to Newcastle, but we were giving it a go. Look, we done the pod, didn't we, after the Everton League Cup game? The FA Cup game, wasn't it, last season? Do you remember? And we was all saying, well, that was good because Mourinho took the shackles off and it was an exciting game of football. And although we lost, we was actually quite pleased with some of the...
what I say to you week in, week out, Mark, isn't it? As long as they're putting in their all, wearing that shirt, putting their bodies on the line, a happy Spurs fan to see them fighting for the badge, fighting for the shirt. I'll happily take a 5-4 loss, a 2-1 loss, a narrow 1-0, as long as the boys are giving their all. And that's the bit that disappoints me more than anything else. The half-assed approach, the sitting back and, thinking that they can hold on to a 1-0 lead. We proved under Jose Mourinho, we can't do that. We've proven again this season, we can't do that. I didn't know what I was more excited about. What I was more... yesterday was the fact that that we got 3 points, or the fact we scored more than one goal. It was fantastic.
2 in open play as well.
But the problem is you sit there about saying the attacking type of football. I think our first 3 games we showed some real promise, and I wasn't disappointed about Nuno coming in. I looked at what he did with Wolves and thought with a better squad, I think he might be successful at Spurs. First 3 games I was thinking, happy days. Then the next 3 games, I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, what the hell's going on here? What have we done? Yesterday, we had we showed some impetus and a bit more flair and some nicer football and attacking football to watch. But are we just going to be? Is this going to be an up and down season where we're going to have a couple of games where we think, oh great, is it back? Is this is the Spurs DNA finally going to start seeping through or? And then 2 weeks later, all sat there going, Nuno's shit, get rid of the prick. Kane still being a lazy arse. Why is Dele Alli starting again and dying? He's hanging from a yard arm.
Just going back to Kane, we've got a message. If you're going to go to war, questioning the loyalty of your talisman, the man that's leading the charge, you're guaranteed a deflated morale throughout your ranks. Unity requires loyalty. What I would say is no one begrudged him a move. No one begrudged him a move. It was the fact that he refused to come to training and whatever. That's the issue. And then, like Brian says, the body language and
but Chris, I think he's talking about the players. I think he's not talking about the fans. I think he's talking about the players.
Oh right, okay. If you clarify that maybe on the chat, or maybe I've got the wrong end of the stick there.
Yeah, if he's giving his all, mate, and he's supposed to be the talisman, and no one else. It's like when he never turns up to a final. You expect Harry Kane to be the one to pull everybody up by their bootstraps and say, "Come on, boys, let's get stuck in." And if he's half-assed, and the rest of the team are going to follow suit because he is supposed to be the talisman. I think we should have got rid of him a couple of years ago. I think that Tottenham football. Especially towards the end of the Poch era, was too focused around Harry Kane, and I think it has continued to be too focused around Harry Kane when we've got a lot more to our squad than I think what people believe, because everything is focused around Harry Kane. Get rid of him so the team can become more of a team. And that's just something that I've said before, and I just wanted to say it again.
Yeah, the problem is now. The problem is now that his stock is decreasing, just like Ali's, isn't it? So whereas we could have had a large amount of money a few years ago, like you say, now it's not going to be as much. And I think this
is the last season we could have commanded a high fee for it.
Yeah.
And I think that Levy is still going to rate him as around 200 million.
Well, he won't go anywhere, will he? He won't go anywhere, will he? Mbappe's on a free. He'll probably go to Madrid, but he's still on a free with other clubs you can go through. Haaland's 70 million. Haaland will go somewhere for 70 million. So Levy will say 150 million pound for Kane. No one will touch him because
I'll be honest.
You can get someone half price who's 6 years younger or completely free who's
No, I
Oh,
think
15 years
Kane
younger.
will still go to City next year, but I think Kane will have no choice. I think Levy will have no choice but to take 110 million pounds for him. I think Haaland will go to United, and Mbappe will go to Real Madrid.
That's not how Levy works, though, is it? That's not how Levy works, though, is it?
Mate, but this is the thing, though. It depends what's been agreed now. It depends if there's anything in writing. I don't expect Harry Kane to still be at Tottenham next season. I think this is definitely one way or another. I think this is going to be his last season.
See, I do expect him to be.
Sorry, Chris, you finish, mate.
Well, I do expect him to stay there because the way Levy works is he wants to get the fee for a player that he paid for. Kane was free, so he won't care. You either pay 150 million or he's staying here. You've still got another 2 years left. And if he goes at the end of his contract for nothing, then I haven't lost anything, and he'll be 30 then. I don't think he'll go.
I think we've got it the wrong way round. I think Haaland ain't going to United, and the only reason is because of Roy Keane and his dad. He will not go there. He's a Man City boy. I think Kane will go to United, in all honesty, because Cavani will be gone, and Kane is going there. We all know where Mbappe's going. That's Real Madrid. Without it, don't even matter. It's just whether it's free or he said he'll never leave on a free. So it's whether he does a Judas on them, or if he signs a contract and then they buy him for whatever, and then Haaland will end up at City, because like saying in Sky Sports when they said, have they really missed the boat with not getting a striker because of the way they're playing this false nine? And I can see, honestly, United will stump up 100 million for Kane in a heartbeat.
And they'll probably throw Martial in as well, just to make sure.
Yeah, well, they can keep Martial and we'll give him a reduction on the 100 million.
You know what I mean.
So that's what I see. And the other thing I've got to say as well, because I've heard you talk about when I was coming up, the attack, the way we were playing attacking as well, I don't think it's got a lot to do with the attackers. I think it has a hell of a lot to do with Skip and Højbjerg being there. Because when them two are together, they literally, it's like, what I love about Skip is his position. Like Teddy Sheringham can see things. This guy's positional awareness of where the ball is going to be or where to is absolutely outstanding. And because of it, it allows Højbjerg to come a little bit more forward.
You look at that clearance against Ings, yeah?
Yeah.
The second half. Just, yeah, it to me, it just typifies exactly what Skip brings, and the maturity and the way he sees the game for somebody of such a young age, I think is superb. And I think, and I said, you reiterate what I said earlier. I think for me, those two, they're the staple that team needs to kind of go.
Couldn't agree more.
Moment. Yeah. We play better when they're both playing alongside each other.
Yep.
I mean, Jens, what was your opinion of the attack? I know for a fact, because you're on Eugene's team, that you were pleased with it. So we bring some positivity back to this after moaning at Kane and disappointed in Kane for a little while. But I mean, do you think we'll carry on with that attacking play, or do you think it was a kind of one-off? The same question I asked Mark a little while ago.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. I mean, I've heard different opinions from people about Nuno at Wolves, but the overriding opinion seemed to be that he is Mourinho-esque. And I'd love him to carry on attacking. I think that would be great, but I'm not 100% sure that he has that in his DNA, and that he's going to slip back to the defensive crap that we saw under Mourinho, and also that, well, I mean, it's not as if we even defended particularly well, apart from yesterday and the 3 games before that, the 3 Premier League games before that. We don't have the defence that can sit back. It's just we don't have players who can just put that large tackle in, clear the ball, and sit back for 80 minutes or whatever. I know this is a massive cliche, but attack is always the best form of defence, because that causes the other team to be obviously pushed back. So I don't see why we can't play like we did yesterday, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to revert to type. And
I think against Newcastle, it has to happen. They're even more defensively weak than us. But comment here as well. Our talisman lost his passion to play at Spurs, thus his request to move. our team lacks passion. Is that a coincidence? Two of our most talented, and Ndombele as well, lost their passion. All the fans want to see is passion. I completely agree. I mean, that Arsenal game, the first half, I was dumbfounded, and then I watched Carragher's.
Total bastard! I'd erase that from my memory, and you have to bring it back. It's like, mate,
it's a Tottenham podcast. I'm going to talk about them in their recent history.
Devil's victims. I've done all I could to forget about it, and you just opened the wounds. Jesus.
Okay, well, we'll move on to a more positive. Obviously, we've good win. Villa are a good side, but slightly inconsistent. I think that's what you said, Mac, earlier. Is the international break at a bad time? Ignore injuries and anything that comes from that. But in terms of you've got a good win, obviously there must be some confidence that goes with that. And now you've got to wait 2 weeks until the next league game. Would it have been better if there was no international break, we beat Villa, and then it's fairly quick until we play the next Premier League game? Or do you think it's kind of, thank God we didn't lose that, and then we have 2 weeks to wallow? They've got a happy 2 weeks. They've got a win under their belt.
I don't know, mate, to be honest, because you look what happened with the last international break. We came back and lost 3 games, 3-0. I don't like international breaks. I'll be perfectly honest with you. During the season,
Because you're Scottish.
Get it up yours. But I don't know. I don't like international breaks because I think, especially for what it's not like it's not overly important. Some of the breaks that we do have. You look at. I know they brought in this Euro League thing for it to make internationals more meaningful. I'd rather not add the breaks. I'd rather keep watching the guys. Play the Premier League, keep the momentum going. Rather than breaking off, getting unnecessary injuries. I think that this international break, I don't think it's going to make much difference. With what we've already said about Tottenham, and do we think it's going to be up and down? Do we think that this attacking style of football that we saw yesterday is going to stay? And some of us said, oh, probably not, and some of us said, oh, it'd be nice to. I don't think it makes a blind bit of difference. The only thing that's going to make any difference to me for this international break is whoever comes back injured. Yeah.
I mean, do you think there'll be injuries, Mark? 2 weeks? I don't know how many games there are in the international break. At least 2, I'd have thought, for most teams. But and then obviously the South Americans, are they allowed to go? I'm sure I read somewhere or heard somewhere that the Premier League given them allowance to go, so there shouldn't be a Romero, Lo Celso, Reguilón situation.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, they're allowed. I think they're allowed to go. That they don't have to go back to Croatia. They can come back to Hotspur Way and train for 5 days behind closed doors.
Do you think it's a good thing we got Newcastle? I mean, they're fairly low. Their defence is all over the place.
Yeah,
it's away, which isn't going to be easy. But do you think it's?
Are you really just? Don't you remember when they did us 5-1?
I was about to. That was the point I was about to make. It's not like they're not our jinx team.
We beat them 3-0 there a little while ago.
Yeah, but mate, honestly, going back for years, Newcastle have always been one of them teams where they just
we won on the opening day of the season. Not that long
as
ago.
Mac just said. Do you remember when they got relegated? They had a player sent off, and we got absolutely spanked by them. And we needed to win to finish above Arsenal. I'm never confident, no matter how Newcastle are playing, going up there. To be honest with you.
It's the one game where Steve Bruce becomes a tactical fucking genius.
Yeah, exactly. They've always got this little hoodoo over us, mate. It's just one of them teams. Like, what was it the other season when what's his name? That striker.
Joe Willock came on.
Him as well. Yeah, him. He got a couple, didn't he, last season against us?
Oh, Joe Linton.
Joe Linton scored. We battered them the whole game.
Every year against us.
Yeah. We battered them the whole 90 minutes, and they won 1-0. Yeah, so to be quick, Chris, I expect us to win because, as you say, they are important, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got fucking beat 4-0 by them, to be honest with you. They're just one of them teams for us.
Yeah, what do you think, Jens? Do you think it's a good team to play, or do you think bogey team, it could be tricky, and then we've got 2 weeks of our head not in the kind of Premier League game because we've got 2 weeks off, and like Max said, what happened after the last international break?
Yeah, well, as Mark said, they are our bogey team. And yeah, even though no matter how bad they're playing, they always seem to pull a result out against us. But I have to say, I think I'll be quietly confident for this one. They're not looking great. I mean, yeah, we haven't looked great the last, apart from yesterday, the 3 games before that. But I'm hoping we've turned a corner. Just hopeful that, as you said as well, no injuries in the international break. I know that the Danes have got 2 games, so we'll be able to probably play both of those against Moldova and Austria. I'm not sure who the English are playing.
Hungary's one of them.
Hungary's it? Okay. So yeah, fingers crossed, no damage, and we can pick our first 11. And yeah, maybe Harry will score for England, and then we might come back.
Just a quick one, Jan. We're away to Andorra Saturday, and then home to Hungary Tuesday.
Okay.
At least that's pretty much a full week, though, isn't it? Home on the Tuesday, you've got a full week with very minimal travel, and then you'd assume that most of those players in England, anyway, are based in London, so it's just a little bit of a commute. But I mean, do you think we'll come back and then carry on where we left off against Villa, or do you think it'll be like the last international break where it's a completely different team and looks a completely shell of the team that was top of the league before the last one?
So I have to say, you know what? For years and years and years, I hated the international breaks. But now I just can't wait for them to come, because there's always a bloody story around Tottenham. There's always a media agenda. I think it's vital Nuno got the win, because if he didn't, and the 2 weeks, the media would have just dug their claws in so deeply. And to tell you the truth, I'm delighted, because I've got 2 weeks where I'm home at London and can be with my family and friends, and Tottenham can't ruin it. Because until yesterday...
Unless Harry Kane scores a hat-trick for England.
Oh, do you know what? Then I'll be like, do you know what? If Harry Kane does that for England, let's say he scores 1 in each, or 2 in and 1, or whatever amount of goals, and then we play Newcastle and he don't score and he goes missing. Anyone that disputes it, especially playing Newcastle, yes, they're our bogey team, but they are not a good team. They are not a good team.
Quick one, Chris. Can I make a request? If England if Kane has a really good international break and then he does fuck all against Newcastle, can I please be on the next show with Brian?
Yes. Well, I need to be on more. We're gonna talk. Oh mate, this is a bromance starting.
I've added you. I've added you on Twitter.
Superb. Why weren't you before? How dare you? But yeah, listen. They'll come back from the international break. And do you know what? Everyone's going to be a bit fitter. There's another bloody one in November. So who knows? This time, if we're doing it symmetrically, then we should come back and win every game until the next one. So then that's good. Like I said, listen, we all know these international breaks are coming. It had been poor. Let them go away and be with their friends and do what they want. Well, as long as we don't have the COVID nonsense or pick up any injuries, they need to get minutes. And the next ones we got Newcastle, West Ham United as 3 of the next league games. I don't know if that's the exact next 3. If there's one before, after West Ham, I'm dreading. I'm doing the watch along for We Are Tottenham TV, and I think I might be a little bit volatile on that show. I've got a sneaking feeling. Jens, you might have to come over and just laugh. You may have to come over and just laugh.
We got Newcastle, we got Betis away, then we got West Ham, then we got Burnley in the cup, and then we got United home.
Okay, so listen, we end it positively with a win, and I'm okay with it. I mean, if it had been a loss,
I don't think Nuno would still be in the job now if we'd have lost badly.
Unfortunately, but again, we're directing it to the wrong person. I'm going to stop there before I go on a 58-minute rant about the parasite.
For me, with Newcastle, I'm even going to throw in a score prediction. I think we'll win 3-1. I do. I've got 3-1 just sort of rumbling around in my head.
Harry Kane hat trick.
Yeah.
Then I'm definitely coming on the next one.
I think Sonny and Dembele and Lucas with one that will get taken away from him again. But I think we'll do them. I think the biggest problem we're going to have against Newcastle is if St. Maximin turns up and has a blinder. I think he's for me, he's Newcastle's biggest threat. And don't get me wrong, I know Callum Wilson knows where the back of the net is, and you know that little North London reject who's now up there as well, who's did it against us last season. But yeah, I think there's a lot of positivity to come from the Villa game. I think as long as internationals go well, I don't see why we won't go up there and do them. But obviously it's Newcastle, and going back to what Mark said, going back to what Jan said, there's always a possibility. But for me, I'm going to put my neck out and say 3-1. So remind me of that, Mark, when we do our pod. A couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think, like Brian says, it was imperative we got that win. But like I say, I don't think Nuno would be in the job now if we hadn't have got the win. So hopefully that gives us a bit of confidence, and hopefully the attacking play that we had, which we haven't had pretty much for a month, is a sign of things to come. And then he'll try and attack teams, because that's our strength, not defence.
Don't get your hopes up, Chris.
Sorry?
Don't get your hopes up, mate.
Well, I always think we'll win a game, and so it makes the losses even more painful, because I predicted a win in my head. But we'll see. I'm on a positive frame of mind for Newcastle. Hopefully we don't get any injuries, and then the players can have a good international break. No injuries. Kane can find some form and then bring that back to Tottenham. But pretty much run out of time. Been great having you guys on, as always. Mark, Mac, welcome back.
Cheers,
great
mate.
chatting to you again. Before you go, Raw Emotion is your podcast. Where can people find that? It'll be on the link anyway in the description, but where can people find that if they don't know where it is?
Mac, do you want to go? You like talking more than me?
The only reason you haven't spoke so much is because you're still knackered from the.
I've got you and bloody Brian on. I can't get a word in edgeways. Poor Jan up there.
Stop it!
Mate, GB at the bottom, mate. That's all you need, mate. That's it. Right, so Chris, if you don't mind, Mark, for people who are watching this, or people who are unaware, although I'm sure you are because he's retweeted the arse out of it and congratulated certain people, and not everybody for donations. But Mark ran the London Marathon for children with cancer yesterday. There is still time to donate, guys. Please, if you even if it's £1, it doesn't matter. Hopefully Chris will pop out a retweet of Mark's.
Send me the link on text as well, and I'll stick it on the description. And
thank you.
Yeah, please, guys. It's a worthy cause. As regards and any cancers, it's worthy. But if you got a spare bit, please. But also, you'll find us on Twitter at Emotion Pod, Raw Emotion, a Tottenham podcast. And myself is at Mac 1882 THFC, and Mark is at 1981 Spur. We're available for bar mitzvahs, weddings. If you get bored on a Friday night and you just fancy a chat, it's fine. We're here. But it's been a pleasure being back on with you, Chris. It's been a long time.
Pleasure having you guys on.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. I see you got your headset on so you can get back to Call of Duty. But no, genuinely, mate, thank you very much. Brian, Jan, it's been a pleasure meeting you guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice to meet you too.
Brian, full of chat. Jan, quietly getting pissed in the corner. It's been great, and genuinely, thank you guys. It's been fantastic.
No problem. Jens, you're on Shelfside Spurs. Where can people find that if they don't know about that?
That's on YouTube and also on Twitter. I think it's at Shelf Spurs. We do a show usually once, maybe twice a week, Thursdays or Fridays. It's always a good laugh. Pop on if you have time.
Excellent. And Brian, Tottenham on Tour, where can people find that?
Yeah, they can find us on YouTube and Twitter, and they can find me pretty much on any street corner, whoring myself out to get on any stream I can. Like I said, I've got my Julia Roberts outfit. I'm working it, baby, working it. But yeah, they can find me at Tottenham on Tour. We've had a bit of a last week. We haven't really done a lot, me and Brian, but we're doing shows like the Final Whistle with it's called Dan THFC now, but it was the Yid Kid. We've got another few shows that we're going to bring out, and there's going to be a lot more content with me and Brian together coming up. We might be doing a show tomorrow. But you can find us at Tottenham on Tour.
Excellent. And obviously all the links will be in the description. Mark's link to sponsoring for the marathon will also be there. That'll be on the YouTube link and also the Apple, Spotify and podcast link. Hit those sites up. Give them a retweet. Give them a retweet. What am I saying? You can't give them a retweet, but give them a subscribe. Give them likes on their channels. Yeah, and obviously this one as well. We've got 40 people watch this and 9 likes. Not really sure how that works. Surely 40 people who would be happy that Spurs won, there'd be 40 likes. But yeah, thanks for watching and adding your comments in. Yeah, and make sure you like all of the other streams as well and the podcast as well. Make sure you sponsor Mark. But we've got an international break, like Brian said. We've got 2 weeks where Spurs can't ruin anything for us unless
Levy
Harry Kane scores a hat-trick.
Levy can, just the team.
Yeah.
The team can't.
That's
the owners
a
can.
different show.
Yeah, 2 weeks where Spurs won't lose a game. Happy days. Until next time, we'll be back. I've got a Spurs quiz next Monday as well, by the way, and there's an actual prize as well. I've got a prize, and Brian, you'll be pleased to know it doesn't come from the Spurs shop, so you wouldn't be.
Well, I wouldn't have spent the money, so I wouldn't have cared.
You would have done it. If you'd won the prize and it had come from the Spurs shop, and you'd got a prize that was funded for by giving Levy money, you wouldn't have been happy about it.
Yeah, maybe, but can the prize be 5 minutes alone with Levy? Because then no one else doing the quiz, because that's all mine.
No, Brian, the prize isn't you going to prison.
No, but it's fine. You wouldn't know. Listen,
it's on YouTube, Brian. It's on YouTube. You'd have won, and then all of a sudden Levy's in hospital.
I was about to say there wouldn't be a hair out of place, but there is no hair, so there won't be a glasses out of place. Everything will remain in contact. I want to speak to him verbally.
Right, okay. That's not the prize, no.
Oh, damn it.
This is do you know what? This is one of the longest outros I've ever been on in my life.
You were on here for months. You're used to this. Yeah.
We were doing this for a long time.
I had a haircut yesterday. It's just all come back.
Anyway, international break. 2 weeks off. 2 weeks off of Spurs. England are the only team that can ruin it, not Spurs. We've got our win. We're back up. We've stopped that rot. Hopefully we can carry that on with Newcastle. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Leave it out.
Go on, you Spurs. Leave it out.
Thank you so much for watching. For everybody who participated in the live chat and added comments, before you go, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody who couldn't watch the live video, you can still catch us on YouTube. Add any comments, suggestions or questions to the comments section on the video. Anybody who's listened to the audio-only podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anybody who wants the audio-only podcast, you get this wherever you get your podcast from. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter, @Talk Tottenham, you'll find all the information there. We'll be back soon. We're live Mondays, 8 p.m, Fridays, 12:30 UK time. Until then, come on, you Spurs!